Okay, welcome to the second part of this series, the second video. Now, from the first video we tried to introduce the topic. We talked about how, we talked about what time dilation is, that it is basically a contraction of time as you begin to move through space. You can imagine it. You're moving, you're getting up and walking, or being in a car to move. Any movement you take actually influences what time you measure. And this is very strange because we've never really thought of time this way before Einstein came around. So now we're going to try to explain what caused him, try to look at the things that caused him to begin to have doubts about the idea of time the majority of us have. And to do that, first of all, we're going to try to look at speed. So what is speed really? Speed, like they say, is distance covered depending on time. Distance covered depending on time. Now, we can think of speed as, for those of us who drive, kilometers per hour, meters per second. This is how speed is measured, you see. So basically what it means, speed, is the distance you've covered divided by the time taken for you to cover that distance, you see. So now this speed, as it is not, when we talk about speed, the question of speed has always got to do with in relation to what? For example, this is a daily experience. If you're in a car driving and there's somebody sitting somewhere by the side of the road, let's say you're driving at 50 kilometers per hour. The speed and that person is sitting on the ground, sitting beside the road. He's not moving. His speed is 0 kilometers per hour. Since he's not moving at all, his speed is 0. While you, who is driving, you're driving at 50 kilometers per hour. Now, you go past that person. At what speed do you see the person? Because when you're in the car driving, it looks like the other things are moving beside you, by your side. Maybe the trees and even the person sitting down is moving. But the actual fact is you are the one moving, you see. But what you see when you look out the window is other people standing by the side of the road, or the trees, those of us who travel, will see it passing by us. Now, the speed at which you see those people sitting by the side of the road or the trees go past you, or you go past them, is 50 kilometers per hour. Why? Because their distance is not changing, they're just standing still. Now, for those of us who travel, and maybe if you've not taken note of this, the next time you travel, okay, Ilea is just by the side, is just by the corner. Those of you traveling to the north or traveling in time, when you're in your car, you can maybe take note of this. Let's say this same person, you, driving at 50 kilometers per hour, you see a car ahead of you. Let's say that car is driving 30 kilometers per hour. Oh no, sorry. Let's say a car is coming from behind you, driving at, let's say 70 kilometers per hour. Of course, because he's driving faster than you, it's only a matter of time he'll catch up with you and then move ahead. So while you are driving at this constant speed, this person is driving at this constant speed, and this person standing by the side of the road is not moving at all. His speed is not changing, is 0. Now, the speed at which you see this person move past you, that's how it appears to you, is 50 kilometers per hour, which is 50 minus 0. Now, as you're moving, this guy is coming from behind you. Because he's driving faster, it's only a matter of time he overtakes you. But the speed at which you see him move past you is a bit smaller than the speed that this guy standing by the side of the road move past you. You see? And this is strange. Why? Because this guy is driving at 70 kilometers per hour. So why should you now watch this guy move past you at a relatively slower speed than you see yourself, or than you see the static guy move past you? The reason is that relative to you, this guy is not moving, he's moving past you at 70 minus 50 kilometers per hour. Now this is our daily experience. Those of you who travel, maybe Lagos Ibadan Expressway, you know. So the speed you see this guy move past you is just 70 minus 50, which is 20 kilometers per hour, which is smaller than the speed you're actually using to move past this guy. So that's why this guy moves, you zoom past this guy at a faster speed than this guy zooms past you. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the question of speed has always got to do with the question of in relation to what? Of course, this guy standing on his own by the side of the road will see this guy move faster than you, of course. But he will measure this guy's speed to be 70 kilometers per hour, while he'll measure your own speed to be 50 kilometers per hour. But when you relate in relation to you, this guy is only moving at 20 kilometers per hour. If he were moving at the same 50 kilometers per hour, then the both of you will be on the same spot at every point in time. And I'm sure you've seen this before while you're traveling. So every single thing we know moves this way. If I kick a ball, we watch football, Cristiano Ronaldo, okay, let's say Paulo Dybala passes him a ball, and then he races to catch up with that ball. The speed at which, let's say, Pirlo, who is sitting on the bench, she's the coach, see Ronaldo zoom past him, is not the same speed. It's not the same speed. The other person will see somebody chasing Ronaldo, will see Ronaldo zoom past him if Ronaldo actually runs faster than him. So every single thing we see in the world, we can give so many examples. Every single thing moves in this way, except one thing, and which is strange. You see, so you can begin to reason and think why Einstein, after looking at all these things, and came about to the last equation, we all see him as a genius. So until every single thing we see in the world moves this way, except one thing, on which is light. Now, James Clerk Maxwell, that was in the 1800s, he did some calculations when he was studying what do you call them? What do you call this? Electromagnetism. You see, he was studying it, and then somewhere, which I'm not very vast with, and I promise you, as I'm still studying it, as I become confident in it, I'll try to bring it to you, so that you and I can explore it and then see things ourselves. What these people were able to realize about our world. You see, so he did some calculations, and it came about the idea that light moves at a constant speed. A speed which he calculated to be C is equal to 300 million meters per second. You see, he calculated the speed of light to be one and the same thing at every instant. Now, what does he mean? Please listen. This is where it gets very interesting. Like I explained to you earlier, every single thing, when we talk about speed of almost everything, is always a question of in relation to what? The speed at which I see this guy move past me is not the same speed you see him move past you if both of you are moving. If I were standing on my own and you move past me, the speed I watch this guy move past me is not the same speed you, who is moving, would also see him move past you. It's always in relation to yours and in relation to mine. This is where we come about the idea relative velocity. Or relative speed. Relative velocity or relative speed. Those of us who did physics, we know the difference between these two quantities. Now, so every single thing moves in this way. It's always in relation to something. You see, like I explained earlier, the speed at which you see me or you move past me is not the same speed another person who is moving will see you move past him. It's always in relation. You see, every single thing is this way. But Maxwell said no, except one thing, and that is light. And because the speed of light is a constant thing in physics, you know, we gave a letter, a special letter to denote it, and that's C. So every single time you see C in physics, you know it stands for the speed of light. And because this one is so long, you know, in science, we try to make things very easy. So because this one is so long, we try to shorten by writing it this way. 3 times 10 to the power of, how many zeros do you have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. So what this means is, if I hold a flashlight and I turn it on, remember something we explained about relative velocity or relative speed. That is, the question of speed is always about in relation to what? The speed I measure you move past me is not the same speed another person will measure you move past him. If that person is moving and I'm standing alone, or if we are moving at different speeds, it's always in this way. But when Maxwell came up and said, no, this light always moves at a constant speed. What he's trying to say is this: it doesn't matter how I'm moving, it always moves past me in that way. For example, let's say you have a guy here, you have me here, and you have you here. Let's say we have a referee, and we are trying to maybe run a 100 meters race. I'm moving at 10 kilometers per hour. That is my speed. You are moving at, let's say, 20 kilometers per hour, twice my own speed. Now this person here, if he holds a flashlight, a torchlight, and he turns it on, the rays of light will race past us. And because this speed is so high, it will definitely go beyond us. Now, what Maxwell meant when he said the speed of light is one and the same, what Maxwell meant when he said the speed of light is one and the same is, I don't know if you're saying, anyway, is that as this light races past me, it's not going to race past me by C minus, sorry, as this light races past you, well, let me bring it here so you can see. Okay, let's say there's a person here, there is you here, there is me here, this is referee. We are doing a 100 meters race. I'm moving at 10 kilometers per hour. You are moving at, let's say, twice my speed, 20 kilometers per hour. Now, this referee here, as we are running, he turns on his torchlight. Now, this ray of light is going to race past us, not at C minus 20 for him and C minus 10 for me. It will still be C for you and also C for me. This is what Maxwell meant when he said the speed of light is constant, unlike the relative speed which I explained to you the other time. If he actually held a ball instead of a torchlight and he threw the ball, let's say the ball is moving at 50 kilometers per hour, then of course, since it's moving faster than you and faster than me, it will go past us. But the speed at which you will measure it will be 50 minus 20. And the speed at which me, I'll measure it will be 50 minus 10, which will be 40. It will race past me by 40 kilometers per hour, while it will race past you by 30 kilometers per hour. Now, this is how other things work, except light, according to Maxwell. So Maxwell said, if this guy turns on, maybe the referee, turns on his torchlight, the beam the rays of that light will race past us at the same, not C minus 20 for you, it will still be C, which is 300 million meters per second. And it will race past me with the same thing again, 300 million meters per second. So Einstein looked at this. Oh, how comes? Why should the speed of something be the same for everyone? It's strange. Because everything, like I explained, everything we know in this world moves relatively. Like I try to use the example of maybe we traveling on Lagos and Ibadan Expressway, and then someone standing by the side of the road and another car moving past you. You know how we see them, the speed at which they move past us are always relative. Every single thing we know in this world is like that, except light. So when he said the speed of light is one and the same for everybody, Einstein had to look. What's going on? What? So, how Einstein was able to unravel this mystery, which made us, who've been able to understand what he talked about, to call him true genius, is what we're going to be looking at in our next lesson. Now remember, I want to make this very short, bit by bit, so that you, for those people who cannot afford enough data, can take their time to watch every bit of it as they deem fit. If they feel interested, if they feel the next point will be very interesting. Thank you.